Oh, thank you. Did you see the boys wore their button-down T-shirts?
We're here.
Oh my God.
You said to wear black.
We are back, and this is Ready to Take Live.
6 playback.
Coming out of graphics.
Live all
camera
around.
6 and 7 are
Audio is speeding.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Ready to Take Live, your favorite live show about live shows.
Aubrey, you got to open up to us.
My goodness. It was quiet the whole time. Did I just ruin the whole beginning of the show?
Oh my goodness.
Well done, me. Well, that's live. Welcome back to your favorite live show about live shows. This is Ready to Take Live. My name is Aubrey Russell. I will be one of your hosts today. I am the head of production here at LiveX, where we are filming this in our master control room in Hudson Yards in Manhattan. Today we've got a lot of new stuff going for you, but let's start out by introing all the new faces you've got. So take it away.
Hey everybody, I'm Alessandro Altman. You guys can call me Al though. I'm the A1 for the show today. I am an assistant producer and associate technical director here at LiveX. I was a freelancer for a long time with LiveX in a previous career, and I've been with this team for about the last year and a half, and I've really enjoyed the wild ride that it has been.
We're very happy to have you, Al. On graphics, you've got a face that you've seen before, but maybe not on this camera. So introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Nick Mikosi. I'm the LiveX VP of Engagement. I produce streams, large events, experiential, and I head the accounts team here.
He's basically the brains behind the operation. Makes all of our computers work, all of that good stuff. And then, since this is season 4, very big season, we added a 4th camera, guys. What? So on our 4th camera today, we've got someone who's going to be curating all of your comments. So this is our first call of the day to comment, ask us questions, tell us things that you want to talk about, all of that good stuff. And we've got...
Hey guys, it's Anna. Happy to be here today. Welcome to the webcast. I have done a lot of different things at LiveX. I've been here for almost 3 years. It's been like 2.5. Spend a lot of time with this guy right now, working with clients while they're in development on the accounts team. I'm here to take your calls and your questions. No call. There's no calls.
Okay, no calls.
Unless you have a job you want to talk about.
And she will walk away from this live stream, and she will take that call.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
But I'm here to moderate your questions.
Cool. And then before we get started, Mikosi, is there Google Chrome open on the graphics bar right now? Is your email open?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Are you getting chats? Because it's coming through, because of the way the audio works on our graphics bot.
Let me just...
It pops in through program, I think.
We don't need that.
Just be clear.
Oh, it's because Slack is open.
Oh, Slack.
Slack is open. Thanks, Slack.
All right, cool. Well, back to the classic quad box. We're going to start off today with how we always start, with streaming news and events. So, the biggest thing that happened this last weekend was obviously there was a really large sports game that I think a lot of people were watching. That was my sad attempt at humor in this episode, so I promise to never do it again. But before we get to that, we've all been busy. We haven't had an RTL in almost a year now. So thank you for tuning back in, you loyal viewers. I want to go around and everyone say what their favorite jobs since we last saw you guys was. We'll start with Anna.
Oh, I'm a sucker for New Year's. This was my 3rd year doing the show, and the past 2 years, the weather has been crazy, and I've been out in the field running around with talent and on stage. And this year we had really great weather. The crowd was insane. It was packed. The energy was so good. I love doing that show. We found people that were getting married in Times Square, and we recorded that. And I was actually crying because I'm so into it. So that's always my favorite.
It was like a really cool moment too. That wedding was really cool.
Yeah.
They were very much like, they were dressed really cool. They were like in like kilts and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. They were both dressed to match their personalities. And I think that's one of the fun things about New Year's is kind of like everybody's there. There's this sea of people, and it's like there's these 2 people that found love, and they found each other, and now they're here in the square to celebrate New Year's. It's really nice.
It's a New Year's is a great one. It's not a cop out. It's a really good one. Makosi.
Well, the one thing I want to say about New Year's, because I want to pick something different, obviously, but the fact that there were 7 million views on New Year's, that was pretty exciting and awesome. So just to see those numbers, so that was really satisfying and nice to see for that event. But I think since I have to pick something else, I will say we started working with a new venue, a new event space called Levon in Experiential. And so we built a projection space for them, an immersive 3-wall projection space, and they've had already incredible success, tons of really good clients in a really awesome environment where you have 15 feet high of 140 feet linear feet around you of projection with 20K projectors. It's a really great immersive space, fully transporting when you walk in. So that's been a lot of fun, especially since they just have a lot of really good clients that keep coming through, really nice high quality events with people that want to transport their audience, which is really awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool space. I mean, even last night, it was like we were swimming.
Yeah.
So cool. It was like, hi, scuba divers.
Yeah.
Al.
Oh man, probably one of my favorite gigs for the past year. Man, it'd probably have to be the Tony Awards. That was a crazy one. I got to work on it with Makosi. It was a live editing job, but just to be surrounded by all the sort of celebrity and be in the basement of Radio City Music Hall while this crazy event watched by millions of people is going on right upstairs. And sort of you're in this secluded environment where you're kind of just so deep in what's happening, but you're still making an impact on the overall part of the show. No, there were so many crazy gigs of the past year. Also, we're getting to work with like Marcus Samuelson for Audible. Yeah. That was nuts.
Yeah.
When I do have time, I love to cook, and he's a big inspiration, and it's awesome to get to work with that kind of celebrity.
Definitely. And that like live editing is becoming so much more popular now too. And it's such a benefit for teams who are used to live streaming, being able to come in and offer that as a service too, so that clips are available immediately for clients. So I feel like that's been a real big boost. If you're also a live streamer watching and you've been doing a lot more of that, please comment below what kind of jobs you're seeing it on. We'd love to chat about that. We'd love to chat about what you're using to work, what you're using to do your live edit, all of that. I will say my favorite thing that we've been working on is actually here in our studio. So we have a studio in Hudson Yards that we're filming in, and you're seeing the MCR right now, and you'll see the actual studio part in just a little bit. But Fubo Sports Network has launched this year, and we've had the pleasure of having them in our studio 2 days a week, doing their live shows of Call It a Night, Drinks with Binks, and The Cooligans. The cast and talent is great. The producers are awesome. It's been really, really cool to work with all of them and to be able to see our space being used in that way. You build something, it's a labor of love. I'm sure you all have done that at whatever scale you're at. And it's so nice to see people come in, enjoy being here, enjoy working with you, and have positive things to say about the space, have constructive criticism about how they want to use it differently next time. It's just really cool to see people in our studio loving it. So that's a little bit of what we've been up to for the past year. We mentioned the Super Bowl. Our special guest today in our next block is actually going to talk more about the Super Bowl. So we'll glance over that for a minute and mention that on Super Bowl Sunday, we were actually part of a really cool event that went live. Makosi, do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, sure. This was an activation for a big food brand that had a commercial airing during the halftime. And there's a story there, but during the halftime call, originally it was supposed to air at the 2-minute warning. And then, so as soon as the commercial aired, they wanted their activation to kick in. So the commercial was a call to action to go watch on Twitter. So there were a lot of really cool things about that. One is we got to work directly with Twitter because they have their new studio platform. So we weren't going through Periscope like we normally would. We went through the studio platform and worked with the reps at Twitter who are driving that platform now. So it was really cool to be able to have that kind of support when you have such a brand new product that's still sort of like, I don't know if it's not really in beta, I guess, but you have to get whitelisted use Studio. The other thing was that we just had a lot of people on the creative side. There were a number of agencies involved. The stakes were super high because it's the Super Bowl, and so and most of the clients that worked with us on this came to us because they hadn't done live. So that ton of really great creative with lots of commercial experience, but almost all of them were like, yeah, we don't do live except for like little, Instagram live or something very small, but nothing like what we were doing with them. So that process was very involved, and it was a bit complex to try to navigate through, making sure everybody understood how we're going to do, what's the timing going to be like, how can we actually get that done, and shaping like an idea about that sounds good if you were going to do it on a commercial shoot when you have lots of extra time, or at least within an hour of day. If you have to reshoot something, you can do pickups. Obviously, we're not doing pickups in our 20-minute halftime live Twitter stream. So it was a really cool experience for those reasons. The first time I haven't been able to watch the Super Bowl in a long time, but that was a good trade-off to do something on that scale, and with art most of the LiveX team were there, and I have to say, everyone on our team performed exceptionally well. I'm sorry, I keep shaking the table. I just really I feel
So
really passionate about it. And to watch some of the curveballs they got thrown and how the team handled it, knowing we're going to be live in, 90 seconds. So we'll have to do this, and that. Are we ready? And everyone brought the A game. So not to tout the LiveX team, but I just want to say, I was standing behind and I saw everybody do a really good job, and that was compelling for me.
Yeah, and I feel like we weren't the only team to work with a brand who did a live activation at the Super Bowl this year. There were some other really big brands that did it as well, and I feel like it's going to be a new trend moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
To have that as an option. People are all second screening, and I think the coolest piece of it. Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I forgot to mention, on the technical side of looking at the analytics, I'm looking at the analytics after, and I thought, I was like, is this right? And I looked again, because 77% of the viewership was on iOS, on iPhones, and then there, some Android and some other stuff. But desktop was 0%.
That's crazy.
They were up to 6,000, I think, was the max concurrence viewers. And out of that, nothing registered. No desktop users registered, including me and the team who were actually watching. We knew that there were some people, but that really meant it was just us and nobody else. But, that's Super Bowl, right? Everyone's at a party watching the game and second screening on the phone. But I haven't ever seen that, actually. 50, 60, 70% is okay, yeah, that sounds like it makes sense to have that many people on a mobile. But to watch a full stream with 0% on desktop was the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, but it's also our brand's age was going to be a lot lower, so it wasn't necessarily people who are using desktop.
That particular demo was probably, I didn't see the brief, but my guess is that demo was I was saying is squarely in the 12 to 22 range of age. So they're not going to have a laptop out watching that.
Nope. Mm-mm. Well, I don't want to keep our guest waiting any longer. Very excited to start talking about the Super Bowl. And this is our new segment called Pro Talk.
Pro Talk.
Can we see it, Mikos? Woo! Yeah. So, like I said, today we've got someone who has worked the Super Bowl now for 3 years. She's worked multiple events with LiveX. She's one of our MVPs, the always wonderful Liz Hart. Liz, say hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah. So where are you right now?
I am in Brooklyn, working on the next thing already, but no rest for the weary.
You're so close.
I know. I'm going to have to come visit that new conference of yours.
So this year you were the project manager or one of the special project managers on the Super Bowl. Previously with us, you've worked on New Year's Eve for 8 years.
8 years.
8 years, man. Yeah, you were part of and you championed the first all-female front bench on New Year's Eve. Woo! Which was awesome. And then you've worked on the Global Climate Action Summit with us as a stage manager, the Bud Light Dive Tour you were our assistant director on with Post Malone. And I like to say that Circles has been stuck in everyone's head since October.
Every day.
Every day. And then last but certainly not least, you worked with Vice President Biden when he was the vice president.
Yeah, exciting times. It's such an exciting year, 2020. So many things going on. Olympics are going on. Super Bowl just ended. Definitely a lot of activity in the political scene this year. So it's just been off to a bang already with January. Crazy. And you guys too.
Yes, definitely. So let's get started with the Super Bowl. First off, obviously, it's the Super Bowl. You've worked a lot of events with us, like I just said. What are some things that you learned at those events that helped you working with the Super Bowl?
So the common thread of events that I work on is the incorporation of tech somehow and helping tech integrate or using tech in a certain way to get audiences engaged. And of course, starting with New Year's Eve in Times Square, that was kind of where I started seeing for the first time about 10 years ago or so just how challenging but rewarding it is to get that many people, those thousands and thousands of people, feeling like they're in a collective experience together. And Super Bowl, same way, large scale event, especially as we climb up into tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, getting everyone to feel like they are in something together and not just with a bunch of strangers is something that has been a reoccurring theme, especially as we start to see desire for these moments of unity. And storytelling kind of coming into play with a bunch of different entertainment performances, and the bigger ones that show up in television specials are kind of continuing to trend, and even more so in such an active climate right now. Seeing that in that direction is something that finding new and creative ways to do that and using tech to amplify that is where we've seen things going and where I am most excited about things coming together. So relying on these ways to include specialty effects to get people to feel like they are one with each other is what we've been focusing on and seeing trending lately.
Yeah, so specifically, I think we have some photos. You're talking about the light up bracelets that the audience was wearing. So these were all coordinated, and this is how like the NFL was, like you said, trying to make people all feel like they're part of the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yes, light up bracelets, these LED pieces, definitely something that we're seeing to get people involved in a show that may be happening on a stage. It could be happening in a concert environment, but people want to be involved in what they're watching in, and watching the enthusiasm around feeling part of a lighting design, for example, has been highly rewarding to watch and to help coordinate, but also to see the residuals of. We definitely saw some LED wristbands being worn at the airport the next day. So we're glad that the enthusiasm is there.
There are a couple of them where you see them kind of close up and they're not lit up. And they remind me of, I don't know if everyone will get this, but the new Disney bands that you get when you go to Disney World instead of using like a pass. Yeah, they look like, and people wear those everywhere in Florida.
It's a national pastime.
Because you can get like, oh, mine has, it's another Daffy Duck on it or Donald Duck on it. And so it's like everyone has them on. And when I saw them close up without the light on, I was like, oh, they're like Disney bands.
And it's interesting watching people use and integrate technology in their daily lives like this, even getting tickets to go into events. If they're RFID coded or it's QR codes and things like that, starting to think about how technology and special effects that come into every event, how they work with that or need to be deconflicted with that, is just another element of what the planning process looks like for shows of this scale. So working very closely with different departments, and knowing that every piece of tech that comes in may need to be thoughtfully prepared to work hand in hand with so many other different elements of tech that are just becoming commonplace now, is also something that we did this year, and we are seeing really on things more and more every day.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say I saw somebody posted on LinkedIn a camera map of all Fox's cameras, the Super Bowl, which first of all, I was like,
wow.
I don't know who allowed you to do that. That seems questionable. So we don't have it on the show because I don't know if they were even allowed to put it on LinkedIn, but there were over 100 cameras throughout that entire stadium. And so it's like in the same way that live makes people feel like they're there at the event, it's having these 100 cameras. You need these light up bracelets all over the stadium to make everyone who's actually there also feel like they're part of the event. So I think that's a really cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it speaks to the point where there are so many, the teamwork that is needed on events like this and events like New Year's, events like Democratic Convention. There's so many different pieces that now rely on technology that need to all operate and share similar resources, whether that's time or space or just attention and planning attention. Sitting down with everyone and actually putting so much thought into that is half of the battle, if not more. Everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants everything to work at the same time. And we've had really great experiences deconflicting these kinds of things, but it is definitely something where it's a new element of the planning process to actually spend that kind of time being thoughtful about what may or may not what may or may not need to talk to each other, let's say.
Yeah, totally. Did anyone else have a question for Liz specifically that they wanted to ask? Anna, do we have any questions on social?
Not specifically for Liz. We are getting some love from some familiar faces and some friends. I don't know if you want to talk about them now or you want to come back to them later.
We can hold off on that first.
Yeah.
We can save them. We'll save them.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much, Liz, for coming on the show. This was really great to have you as our first guest of season 4. And if you want to, I don't know, are you allowed to say what you're working on next?
It is some things involved in the summer abroad for another unifying event.
Wow, that is just
It's a good theme.
Political.
It's a great theme to run through your career, though. It's really nice.
That is really cool.
Thank you.
But thank you again for being here, Liz.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you, guys.
See you, Liz.
Have a good
Cool. So now our next segment is very cool, very exciting. It's a new segment this season. Al, if you want to go ahead and
You got it.
repo, we're going to do an awesome new segment in the LiveX studio where we're going to show you new gear that we love, old gear that we love, and talk about stuff that maybe you've heard of and you haven't been able to get your hands on. So this is our new segment called Studio Demo.
Hey, everybody. So we have here today a mobile bonded solution called Mobile Viewpoint AirLink. We have a 2-channel SDI encoder with 8 SIM cards on the top, along with some internet connectivity. So you can plug and play with local Wi-Fi or a drop-down hardline internet and have a bonded solution back to a decoder, which we have in our REMCR, which is a 4-output decoder box that lives in a 1RU space, and we can take in up to 4 camera feeds and be able to switch that on the fly remotely. And you can also stream directly from here to any destination, so you can bring this as an encoder standalone without the need to decode it back at your MCR. It fits in this really nice backpack. I don't know if you see it on the overhead. And it fits this antenna to give you greater range with your SIM cards. Like I said earlier, it has up to 8, so you have 8 connections over these little mini DIN connectors. You just pop this off with a couple of Allen keys, and then connect all those together, and you get extended range. Along with all the sort of bonded options that you have, it also adds a feature of giving you a mobile hotspot, so you can also be surfing the web, communicating with your team, downloading assets, doing whatever you need to do in the field without the need to be connected to a plug on the wall, so to speak. Or if you're like we often find ourselves in on remote locations, the internet speed isn't necessarily the best. So this is one really valuable solution to have for any remote production. What's super convenient about this is that you can pop this into a camera over a V-mount. You can get it also in a gold plate mount. You can attach a battery to it on the back. The backpack also features on the inside a little V-mount plate. I don't know if you can see that in there. It's a little dark. You can just slide this in, power it with a D-tap connector, 4-pin. That's actually not D-tap, excuse me. That's just a 4-pin DC adapter for V-mount batteries. And then you also get the option of audio communications with a mic return, an IFB return, and a mic send back to your home base over 1/8. It also has HDMI, so you can mix and match HDMI and SDI, which are switchable, as your input sources. And then in addition, it also has an HDMI out for monitoring. Yeah, it's a really amazing bonded solution. We love it. We're one of the first people in New York to own one of these things, thanks to CP Communications. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really powerful product, and we can't wait to bring it out in the field more and more often in 2020.
Yeah. Al, did you say that it's touchscreen? Did I miss that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Let me fire this guy up for you all.
Awesome.
On the bottom is the power button. You just slide the V-mount battery on there. Takes a second. Yeah, this is I think, so we got the supersized version of this guy, which with 2 SDI inputs, also has a bigger touchscreen on the front. Super handy, super responsive. The amazing thing is that once this thing is online and running, you can remote into it and have the same GUI that you would find as if you were working with it in person. So you don't necessarily have to be on location to control this thing. And still have all the same functionality that you would as if you were right there. It's just that fantastic. So as you can see, it's really bright, really easy to use in the sun. Even in this bright lighting in the studio, you can still really read it pretty well.
Okay.
You have all your configuration on the left-hand side, start and stop. The really awesome thing is that this is the only bonded solution that I know of, at least correct me if I'm wrong, but it can go down to 1 second delay. That's pretty much like a phone call. Or at least it's similar to what we just did with Liz, with a 1 second delay or so, but from point to point. So long as you have it all configured correctly, you're going to have some really, really powerful and robust solutions for remote productions.
Yeah, and while we are one of the only companies to be using this in New York, or to own it, in New York, this has been used globally on a lot of big productions like bike races, where you need cars remote following all the bicycles, things like that. I do want to bring up, how uncomfortable, Al, is it for the audio guy to be so far away from the audio board?
Oh, it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I figured you were really uncomfortable right now. We should set up like an iPad controller for you or something.
I need like a little mixer over here.
Well, Al, you did really good. I know that was really hard to do a live demo. I feel like that was very comprehensive.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to bring up that I was excited when I saw that we were going to be talking about this product, because it actually solves a problem that we talk about often, which is that if you are, like, what this product is for is if you are doing a parade or a rally or what was the other thing? A protest, marches, anything where you're out in the field and you don't really have control over the different elements. You know, you don't really know what the internet's going to be like. And there's quite a few products that kind of manage this now, but to have the multiple channels, there's a lot more options with this product. I don't know. I was really excited. It's something that I find a lot of clients are interested in because it allows them to do something that maybe wasn't available to them before.
Yeah, Al, can you just talk about where the signals go? Like, do you have to have a decoder on the other end? What else can you do? What do you do with the signals once they're in the box?
Yeah, so like I was saying before, I obviously your SDI goes on the side over here, really nice, nicely built spigots, a really hard core. And then as soon as you start the encoder on this side, you can either do one of two options. One is that you have it paired directly with a decoder and a REMCR, like we do currently, or you can go directly to your destination over the internet. I think those are two different sort of price points in terms of like what happens where and like how Mobile Viewpoint deals with your transferring. But for 95% of use cases, we're going to be using this thing from point to point. So from the field back to us, and then encoding up to whatever platforms, even our own. So it really gives you a handy solution in terms of being able to just drop this onto a remote set and have two camera feeds coming in, and then being able to switch it remotely, halfway around the world.
Yeah, 2 cameras in a backpack with IFP is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to solve, like, I can't even tell you how many shows are just that simple.
Yeah.
And, to have this and be in your own home, and we've been talking a lot in 2019, and I think a lot more in 2020. We're going to be talking a lot more about at-home production, so to speak, where we can just send this off to a crew that knows our cameras really well, and we can be able to configure this, in our office and wherever we are at the moment, and be able to switch a show and still have the same quality that you'd expect as if you brought 30 fly packs with you and set it all up and had to put 15 people on a plane and just to make a show happen. But so the nice thing is that we can scale up. So since the 1RU we have right now can do up to 4 decodes, we can get another one of these guys and we can have 4 cameras in the field and have a mix of sources and be able to have a pretty complete show.
Very cool. Yeah, remote production is obviously where the industry is going as well. So it's this is a step in the right direction. I love the antenna. The antenna thing is what really kicks it up a notch. Is first of all, the 8 SIM cards, it kicks it up a notch, but the antenna being able to get out higher. We're doing a lot of productions where we've got we're in someone's home in a remote community for like a political event or something, and it's really hard to get cell service. And a lot of those places, a lot of them don't have good cell service. A lot of homes don't have obviously very high upload speeds. They have good download speeds, but not so good on the upload speed. But this has been really helpful. Having the antenna allows us to get a lot better signal in those remote areas as well.
We have a note from Jonathan as well, who had a comment on what did he say?
Okay, well, we're doing all chat stuff later.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I jumped the gun.
I think
He's
too,
so excited.
He's so excited.
Jonathan does sports. He's excited.
I want to hear I want to have Jonathan.
I want to too.
I think to your and Aubrey's point, to Anna and Aubrey's point too, having this antenna sort of doesn't necessarily get around the whole having to bring a cow in. If you're familiar with what that term is, it's a cellular service will bring in a truck that'll help to upgrade the SIM card the 4G speeds in the area for large events, especially when everybody's on their phone tweeting about it or posting on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. So having this sort of gives you the upper hand in that sort of those harder environments. And it gets around sort of the issues. You can go on and on and on. It gets around the issues of like frequency coordination with wireless, so it's just another step up in the various bonded solutions that we have available for remote productions.
That's awesome. And just so everyone knows, COW stands for cell on wheels or cellular on wheels.
I didn't even know that.
There you go. Al, thank you so much. Great job, dude. Woo! That was awesome. You can come on back in, and we'll give you your old camera back now that you're back. Cool. So that was our studio demo segment. If you guys want to get in chat, let us know what you thought about that. Was that like, wow, I really want to see more studio demos? What are some products that we should demo? What are some products we should show you? You might follow us on YouTube or subscribe, to us on YouTube. If you don't, you should head to YouTube in a second tab window right now. Keep this open. Keep staying live with us, and hit subscribe. We've got unboxing videos. We've got deconstruction videos. That's our new thing. Whenever a piece of gear is past RMA and it's just never going to work again, we're going to deconstruct it live. And not live, We're going to deconstruct it and we're going to speed it up so you don't have to watch the slowness of unscrewing every little thing. But those are on our YouTube. these will be posted on our YouTube after we go live. It's a great channel. You'll see a lot more gear, but please post in the comments what should we be unboxing and what should we be doing live demos of. All right. Do you guys think it's time? Do you guys think it's time for chat?
Yeah, let's do it.
If
All right.
Makosi says.
He's so excited.
I already.
Put it in, Makos. Yay!
Hey.
Jonathan Van Zerzen says, these devices are great for remote sports as well, which is correct. I don't think we've used these in our golf applications yet, because I think it came out after golf season. Aubrey, correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct. It came. Well, no. They've been out. We didn't get it till later.
Okay.
They've been out for a while, though.
Yeah. So I'm sure it will make an appearance at our next golf-related project.
Or any other sport, should you want to hire us to do any other sport. Like I said, it's been on a lot of bike races, a lot of like marathon races or long distance running, Ragnar races, anything like that. I've seen them used on. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next comment, Corey Banky said he was excited to see the Mobile Viewpoint demo. So I hope it lived up to your expectations, boss.
Boss.
I hope I did it justice.
Aaron Nagler feels that we were negligent to mention that working on Cheesehead TV should be our highlight.
Oh my God.
I mentioned the studio.
Anyone wants to change their story now?
Yeah.
We got some, moving on, if I'm going too fast.
Oh, you're
Going too
fine.
fast? Okay.
Great.
I'll
All
just
right.
wait after.
Got some love from some old faces that we love. Corey Manici says he loves the new graphics. Thanks, Manici.
Benici.
What's up?
Oh,
Do we
man.
have his?
Yeah.
Do we have his text? Yay!
Hey.
Yay!
Are you loving this graphic, though?
I'm sure he loves this graphic. Hopefully he loves seeing his name on there.
And then the one and only Nick Nagurka Holden
Oh my goodness.
commented that it looks amazing, y'all.
Does it sound amazing?
Yeah, let's see. Let me go back, see if there's
Is he saying good job, Al?
He's probably like, you did it all wrong.
Oh, no.
We miss you, Nick. We were gonna say too. So you don't see Nick Nagurka sitting in the audio seat. He's actually on tour. He's on tour with his good buddy, and he's doing front of house now. So he's been all over the U.S. And abroad, or is about to go abroad. Is going to. So follow him on social and find out what he's up to.
Yeah, his Instagram has been great recently.
Yeah, and he's making beautiful music all over the country. So, congrats, dude.
And drinking very good espresso.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would hope so. I'd be very disappointed if that weren't the case.
Oh man.
Yeah, he has posted a lot about that. He has expounded numerous times on the West Coast third wave coffee and told us didn't he rank it for us like
He like sent us.
Portland versus I mean it's pretty heavy nerdy stuff. If we thought that like walking around with a Mobile Viewpoint like the antenna on a backpack was nerdy, you should hear some of our conversations about coffee. It's bad.
But we all need it. It's a
Yeah.
production special.
It is indeed.
So a little bit more love from Manic. He also likes this graphic. So
Oh, good.
lots of love.
Oh, good.
Oh my God.
Cool. So we're good on that.
Yeah, we're good.
Let me do the fancy.
Woo.
Oh.
Shout out
cool.
to Eric, our motion graphics artist, who made all these new graphics. You got a lot of love in the comments. You got more love than any of us did, except for Al with his demo. So Eric's the MVP of the episode, guys. I guess we should bring him on.
There you go.
We'll have to do that.
It's a
We'll
good
have to do
idea.
an episode where we talk.
He's like, no,
Yeah.
what are you doing? He's,
if he's watching.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably like, I don't want to look at them anymore. Cool. So we have a new segment that we want to do at the very end of every episode. Don't worry, we're almost over. If you're like, no, I wish you weren't almost over. Well, tune in next week. And our final news segment is called Fail No More. Cool. Cool. So on this segment, we're going to talk about something that we've either learned recently in the field or just like a quick tidbit about a helpful thing for production, classic production essential. And since we're talking about audio this week, Al, do you wanna give it away?
Yeah, it has to.
No self-pity here. This is a positive thing. It's
No,
okay.
it is a very positive thing. I think, you always have to be considering redundancy when it comes to live, and you can't always rely on the things that you've been setting up. And always having a backup microphone or a backup camera, just so you can be able to go right to it very quickly, in just a pinch. That's going to save you in the end, and it's going to keep the flow of a show going without having to scramble and freak out. I learned recently that you should be like a duck on the water. You should have a calm outside above the water, and then keep your feet pedaling underneath and have that, have that energy going underneath while everything is kind of chaotic around you. And the way you sort of avoid that chaos would have to be with your backups. So having a handheld on standby and, just knowing exactly where it's going to be when you need to go to it and being ready for anything to go down at any time. It could be a battery. It could be your Dante network went down. You just need to have something and be ready for anything that could go wrong.
Yeah, I feel like that's also just a life lesson, not even a production lesson.
Yeah.
Be ready for anything that could go wrong.
I'll admit it, I grew up as a Boy Scout, and the biggest motto was be prepared. And I think that could extend to a lot of different parts of life and a lot of different careers.
It's very true. Well, I would say you looked like a calm duck when you were in there doing the demo. So
Hey,
you did a great job. Nick Nagurko is proud. Don't you worry. Does anyone have anything else they want to say? Anyone? All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching, whether you're watching this live, whether you're watching us VOD on YouTube or Facebook. The goal is later this season to be live on LinkedIn. So stay tuned on our social channels to see that. If we have nothing else, I'll just sign us off with best of luck on your next live production.